Hello everybody, welcome to my new Sunday market breakdown. As usually, we start on the DXY, the US dollar currency index of the Forex market. So we are at the daily chart, and what can we see on the daily chart? We have clear impulses and corrections. So we have a clear impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, potential correction that is now forming this upcoming week. So we expect that the price can come back to these daily lows where liquidity was found. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of support wicks, and we went to the upside impulsively. And now we are coming more correctively back. So if I look, we have also nice supply and demand zone at that zone, which is nice support here. Resistance, these are false breaks of that zone. So this is resistance for me and support here. So this is a nice zone. If I look further back, you can see it more clear. This was also resistance support. Here again, also resistance support. So it's a supply and demand zone. But if I go to the weekly, on the weekly, if I take my horizontal line and my magnet on that high here, we just close a little bit above it. But that doesn't mean it's a break because this can be a false break to take the retail traders out to go for a short. So that's why it's important that the daily comes correctively back to our zone because we broke a little bit above it, so we can act as support. So this can be our resistance. So like this can be our resistance. This can be our support, and we already hold this as a support wick. So now we can come back also to the daily zone, acting as support to go back to the upside, which is potentially happening. Or we can go to the downside because there is enough liquidity taken from that monthly head and shoulders, and then go back to the downside to let shoulder one, head, shoulder two, which is here also resistance and supported to go to the upside to see that change in momentum. So if I go to the monthly to that line chart, you can see that shoulder one, head, shoulder two is sitting here, and we tapped it and the liquidity kicked in from that weekly candle. You can also see here resistance, support, resistance, resistance, potentially going back to that inverted shoulders of that weekly. So that's important why the daily must come back correctively with then that for our entry or for our criteria. As you can see now on the 4 hour, we have here still a bullish M in place. So we have here our low wick, high wick, and we didn't broke it here. So this is clearly still our impulse, correction, impulse, correction. So we are still bullish also on the 4 hour. So the daily is with us and the 4 hour is with us. So and the weekly potentially we broke it also, but this is indicational. So the daily is with us and the 4 hour still. And we have the daily corrected pullback potentially. So we will see what will happen there. So then the next one, USDGPY. On the daily, I'm looking to that bullish M. So why is that? Because the DXY is also forming that bullish M, and we can act as a support on that weekly potential supply and demand zone. So on the daily, this is also clear. We have here our impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction. And what likes the price to do when we have that small bearish candle? This is working like a magnet mostly of the time. So the price wants to come back to that zone. And if I take my fib from this high here to this low, minus 27 fib completion is aligning there. So that's nice. If I go to the weekly, what can we see on a weekly? On that weekly chart, we are potentially indicational bearish because we had here our high, our low, high, and this is the whole new leg low. So this is indicational bearish, but that doesn't mean that the trend cannot go up because it's indicational. So we have that bullish candle. So actually the trend is still bullish for me because that was an indicational bearish new low. And that candle close, this one is also bullish. So we have 2 out of 4. The fib from this high till this low is against us. And potentially that supply and demand zone potentially can hold here as support. So this can be our resistance, support, potential support. You can see it also here, small resistance, small support. We went to the upside. So this can be your supply and demand. So that can work for you. So that's why I'm not counting that with you. So the daily was clear, the weekly also. We want to see the tab of this IC. And as you can see on the daily, more clear, this is clearly your supply and demand zone on the daily, acting as support, resistance, support week, false break, support. Then here, that kind of resistance, but we broke above it, so acting a little bit as support here. But it's a supply and demand zone for me. So, and on the 4 hour, what can we see? On that 4 hour, we can see we have here our impulse for our high. Then we have here that low, new high. So this is your bullish M. First leg, impulsive. Then we come corrective. Second leg, third leg, impulsive. Fourth leg coming corrective. What we can also see is we have a potential pattern within a pattern on the 4 hour. This was your first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, and within that, shoulder one, head, shoulder two. And you can see within that, you have also a nice supply and demand zone acting as support. All these weeks acting as support. Here a small resistance, and this nice week came back to act like support with a really nice bullish candle close, impulsive candle close. What we can also see is for potential entry is that FIB completion. So we have here our first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, potential fifth leg, FIB completion. So if I take my FIB from this high here till this low, minus 27 FIB completion is aligning here. I took the round number to the upside, which is then aligning with this 4 hour supply and demand zone. So we can take here a trade because it's for me actually a small pattern. So it will not take a lot of time for the market to go to the upside. Till that daily TP or 4 hour minus 27, it's the same like this. It's actually the same. So this is actually your 4 hour TP. And you can take your limit actually here, stop loss below this wicks, below the shoulder one wick to the downside, and you can take the trade. So this is Usdjpy. Then the next one, Audcad. So what can we see on Audcad? We can see a potential pattern within a pattern. So we had here first leg down, second leg up, corrective, third leg down, impulsive. So then what we received after tapping this weekly buying zone, because this is a major buying zone, this acting as really nice as buyers, buyers kicking in, resistance, resistance, false break, resistance, support, support, buyers kicking in. So it's a clear daily supply demand zone, and on the weekly it will be also clear. So what can we see after that? We made a false break of the weekly daily zone. And what we receive is first leg, second leg, third leg, potential fourth leg coming back. And what we receive also, we have a close above these highs. So we can see potential shoulder one, head, shoulder two forming. So this is a pattern within a pattern. For me, it's still a small pattern. So actually, we can take our limit. But then we need to see what is our risk reward. So first, I will go over the weekly. So on the weekly, what can we see? On the weekly, we have a 4 out of 4. And why is that? Because we had here our low, we had the impulse, new high, correction, second leg, low, and we had a new high. So this is our first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg. And what can we see? This is our bullish M. And we can see we have a clear impulse and correction. Impulse, correction. And we can see clearly A, B, C, a clear wave in that leg. And we can see that FIB completion from this high to this low, minus 68 FIB completion aligning there. It depends on how you drew it. And we also respected this weekly higher low. As you can see, we respected that with three weekly support candles, and now with the bullish candle close aligning with to the upside. We can see this weekly higher low is also supply and demand zone acting as resistance, support, support. As we look back, support, resistance. It's a major supply and demand zone. So we have 4 out of 4. The trend is with us. The candle close. This one is to the upside. Fib from this low till this high is for us. And the supply and demand zone is for us. So 4 out of 4, it's a high probability setup. So then the daily was clear. We have here a potential pattern within a pattern, small pattern. And on the 4 hour, what can we see? The 4 hour isn't switched yet. Because you can see we had here an impulsive move, correction, impulsive move, potential, correction, going to the downside to that being of correction. So the 4 hour is still bearish because we didn't broke this 4 hour lower high here. So you can see this as your 4 hour correction. But if we have a pattern within a pattern, we can take our limit normally at the shoulder one and the stop loss below the shoulder one wicks. And if I could take this trade, it's around 2.5%. So normally I don't take it, or some people will, yeah, do this 3.5% will move their entry. That's potentially happen. That can potentially be a possible scenario. But if you look, the 4 hour isn't changed yet. We are coming corrective. The daily didn't broke yet its highs, which is not necessarily, but if you look at impulse and correction, this is clearly your impulse forming in 2 days. And this is your correction forming into, as you can see, around seven, yeah, around 7 days, this correction is forming. So there is a difference then. So what I want to see is that the 4 hour is coming back correctively or making a bullish candle, closing above it, and then coming more correctively back with 2 or 3 candles. Then we can take enough liquidity from this zone to go to the upside because now we can potentially act on that 4 hour high and we can come back in one leg to the downside. So that's the thing you need to be careful for. So yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. So then the next one, Gbpjpy, is still a trade I'm still looking or is still on my watch list because it's a pattern within a pattern on a daily. It's still your shoulder one here. This head, same lows. So it's a double bottom. Then your shoulder two within that potential bullish M and we can take the trade here. It's for me still a small pattern within a pattern for now. So, and then we can see also the fib from this high to this low, fib completion aligning here. So we have that A, B, C correction waveform to complete at the shoulder one. So for me, that's good. And we have resistance also in the head here. So this is clearly supply and demand zone. So this is a really nice trade still for me that can potentially play out. So my fib completion, daily fib completion is here, and I will take the round number to the upside, daily fib completion. So if I go over the weekly, what can you see on the weekly? We have a 4 out of 4. So for me, the trend is still bullish because you had here your low wick, your new high. We didn't broke it. So that's why we went back to the upside. I'm making here now this bullish M to potentially play out the smaller bullish M here. And if I take my horizontal line at these highs here, you can see it acted as a support candle. So this was clearly acting as resistance, and it is now acting with a support wick. So for me, this is supply and demand, so that is holding the price up for now. So if I go over the criteria, trend is up, candle close is bullish. This one will close bullish. Then the fib from this low till this high, the fib completion is here, so we didn't tap it. And then the supply and demand on resistance support here is your supply and demand on holding for now. So 4 out of 4. So the daily was clear. We have a pattern within a pattern, potentially small one. You can take your limit. And then on the 4 hour, what can we see? If you look on the 4 hour, why didn't we came back to our shoulder one is because this 4 hour low here. So this 4 hour low or higher low is holding the price up, and we have that impulse, we received that correction, and now we can have that impulse again. So that's the reason why we went back up. So there is a chance that this trade doesn't come back till the shoulder one zone. So I will wait what will happen there. Then the next one and the last one, Cadchf. For me, it's for now a 1 out of 4 on the daily, but we can have that 2 out of 4. So why is that? Because we have that weekly supply and demand zone that can't hold here as support aligning with this daily IC. So we have here that impulse, correction, impulse, potential correction till this IC, which is working like a magnet. So we have that bullish M. And if I look now on that weekly, what can you see? We broke above this previous lower high. We broke above that. That doesn't mean that the trend is changing. It's an indication. And what can we potentially see? We can see this bullish candle acted as support on this buying zone. These are all buyers. Buyers, and here we have that resistance. So this is our clear supply and demand zone. And the next candle can come back and act like support on that zone to go back to the upside. Because you can see the momentum on that weekly is bullish. We have here that impulse, correction, impulse, potential small correction on daily, impulse. Because that weekly buyers are also not again sitting here if I look further back. So it's a clear buying zone and we cannot ignore that zone. It's a really well respected zone. And if I look more further back, there is actually nothing. So this is the recent weekly supply and demand zone. So the daily, I want to see a corrective pullback coming till this IC. And on the 4 hour, what can we also see, which is nice? The 4 hour is still bullish. We have here our low, high wick, low wick, and then we have our new high. So we have clearly that bullish M. And you can see the price is already forming some correction. Impulse, potential correction, which is nice. And potentially you could take here a fib from this high or this low, but it isn't in that daily zone or in that, yeah, in that zone of interest. So I will wait for an impulsive move to the downside. So something like this and some diesel or a 4 hour entry, inverted and shoulders, bullish M, something like that. So this is my SMB. I hope you liked it and see you next week. Bye.